Entering into week 4 of college football, we're about a month in. Exciting. We have some really big games this weekend. None bigger than the first one I got on this slate. Tennessee and Oklahoma. Oklahoma is opening up their SEC play at home in Norman. The place is going to be electric. On top of that, you add in Josh Heupel, the head coach of Tennessee, going back to Oklahoma where he was a player, where he was an offensive coordinator, where he got fired. There's some bad blood. It's salty. There's just fireworks around this game. And I love Tennessee in this spot. I think Josh Heupel is going to have his team ready, fired up, and they look really good so far. So give me Tennessee minus 7.5. There are better numbers out there. I took it early on in the week because I thought it was going to go up. People are on Oklahoma. I just don't see it. So give me Tennessee minus 7.5 here. All right, moving on. We got Friday night football. The Illini heading into Lincoln, Nebraska. The Illini have been they've been kind of impressive this year. Not like overly like, hey, they're going to compete for the Big Ten, not even close to that. But they have been better than I think most people had anticipated them. And this is a really big spot. We got Luke Altmaier, a veteran quarterback, and he's been pretty solid this year. And then you got Dylan Raiola, this is going to be his biggest test so far as a young quarterback. How is this rookie going to be on the big stage under the lights on a Friday night in his really first big test? So I like the Illini here getting 7.5. So give me the Illini plus 7.5 against Nebraska. Rutgers, Virginia Tech, matchup for the ages. Love this one. This line has dropped a significant amount. I think it opened up at like 5.5 or 6 and has since dropped down. Virginia Tech has looked pretty underwhelming, and this veteran team that brought back 20 starters or whatever has looked pretty vulnerable, and especially up front and on the lines of scrimmage. And I like Rutgers. I like Kyle Monangai, and I think that they've been an improved team under Greg Schiano every single year. So I think this is a good spot for them. So give me Rutgers plus 3.5 on the road. All right, moving on to the next game. Kansas State, BYU. Kansas State really flipped a switch last week where they started running the quarterback, Avery Johnson. That really changed their offense. So their offense had looked much better when Avery Johnson was able to run. If he's able to do that against BYU, which I think he will be able to, I think they should be pretty comfortable in this game because, truthfully, I think the level of athlete is just a little bit different on Kansas State versus BYU. Now, BYU has had a pretty good start to the season, but I do think they're a little inflated. I don't think that they're really that great. I still think that they're towards the bottom of the Big 12 or at the bottom of the middle of the Big 12. So give me Kansas State minus 6.5 here. Cal, Florida State. I'm just going to continue to fade Florida State. They just don't look like a competent team. Their DJ's still going to be their quarterback. Their lines are still going to be struggling because they have all year. Not anything has changed for this Florida State team. Cal has already gone on the road to Auburn and beat Auburn in their own place. So give me Cal here plus 2.5. Maybe pulling up the upset here, in Doak Campbell. All right, the team I don't think a lot of people have been paying attention to just because they haven't really played anybody. The Louisville Cardinals. I think they're a really solid team. Tyler Shuck has been healthy, and I think he's been an improved player this year. And Georgia Tech, I think, again, just going back to Florida State, I think they're just a little inflated off of that win of Florida State, which doesn't really look all that impressive anymore. So I know this is a fat number, and it's an in-conference game, and Georgia Tech has some dudes on the line who can block and can keep it close. But I like Louisville to kind of pull away here and really kind of flex their muscle. So give me Louisville minus 10.5. All right, now we got Arkansas at Auburn. I think Arkansas can just win this game outright. I think Taylor Green has been pretty impressive so far. I think he has a pretty big turnover problem, which is obviously that's a really big problem. But he's been able to get the job done running on the ground, and passing has been okay. I just think that they are capable of having kind of explosive plays, and there's nothing I've seen from Auburn to suggest the same. Peyton Thorne is no longer the quarterback, so they got Hank Brown there, which I think he's fine, but he's not going to light the world on fire. I don't know if Cam Coleman is going. I think he'll play, but obviously he's going to be a difference maker on Auburn. But I think this Arkansas team is getting slept on a little too much. So give me Arkansas plus 2.5. I might even take them on the money line. Iowa, Minnesota is my last game here. Give me Iowa -2.5. The Floyd of Rosedale. What a great matchup. Every single Iowa game is Iowa -2.5. It's been the spread for eternity. And you know what? They usually win 10 games a year. And I've watched this Minnesota team, and I saw them against UNC, and I'm not all that high on Max Brosmer, and their offense really just hasn't been all that impressive. Now, that said, has not been all that impressive either. But they have been putting up more points than they have been last year, and their defense is, I don't think, as good as it was last year and years previous, but it's also really not bad. So give me Iowa -2.5 on the road. A lot of road guys. I put 8 picks up here. I got the road team in 7 of them. So big week for the road dogs. Follow Big Body Ball CFB on all socials.